Good day, everyone. Welcome to our presentation. I am Karen Joy Banico and I am with Felicity Melody Lupina and Gerson Panalican. So we are a senior student from Western Mindanao State University, Ipil Campus. Today, I will present to you our paper entitled From Kasalanan Ko to Nagkamali Ako, an analysis of Apology Speech Act of Filipino content creators. Okay, at this point of time, I will going to show you the outline of our presentation. Okay, first, I'll be discussing the context or the background of our study. And the next, I'll be talking about the literature or our literature review that was integrated in our paper. And then the methodology or the methods in which I will discuss how the study was conducted and of course the analysis used. Then the results and the discussion. And lastly, of course, is the conclusion of our study. Okay, so for the background of the study, now, communication serves as a human behavior and a way to express thoughts. In addition with that, the use of technology allowed individuals to communicate and express in more specific domains, such as to express sympathy, to express different feelings. So now in today's digital landscape, we have content creators, and content creators wield significant influence in shaping online conversations and impacting their followers. However, mistakes happen, and navigating social media norms often necessitates a public apology. So this study delves into the language dynamics of apology speech acts, which was used by the different Filipino content creators, which I am sure you are familiar with, exploring how they craft and express their apologies on social media or online. So by examining the patterns and strategies employed in these apology videos, the research aims to shed light on the different apology speech acts used by Filipino content creators. So now let us proceed to the gap of the paper. So the gap of the paper revolves around how Filipino content creators acknowledge the responsibility to issue apology speech acts or apology speeches rather after social media missteps, considering how the audience would respond if a social media personality will commit mistake and do things against the social media norm. So there will be an expectation from the audience that this personality will going to provide a social media apology speech. Okay, another gap for this study is the language dynamics of apology speech acts of Filipino content creators. Well, it talks about the different strategies and patterns used by the Filipino content creators in crafting or in creating their apologies online. So it also discusses or talks about the ways or the strategies of apologizing of these content creators in apologizing to fix their image online. Okay, so much with that, let us proceed to our literature review. So, okay, in our literature review, we have three. So first is on the approaches and strategies in effective apology speech acts. Okay, through an organized and careful manipulation of language, speakers giving a public speech online or not can achieve their ultimate objective, which is to convince the audience to wholeheartedly believe their reasons and what they say. Of course, their goal is to let or to allow their listeners or their viewers to believe on whatever they are saying. So with that, they have to use different approaches and strategies in order to have an effective apology speech act, in order to craft or in order to create an effective apology speeches. Okay, next, we have here the apology as speech acts. Okay, speech acts were defined as the acts that the speaker performs or actions or the acts that the speaker perform. So specifically when speaking. And then, of course, the last one we have the speech acts and social media, which discuss about how various speech acts were used in social media or how the speech acts contributed in the making of apology speeches of the different social media personalities or the different social media persons. I mean, on the different Filipino content creators. Okay, now let us proceed to our research objectives. Okay, the research objectives that this paper wants to address is, first, to identify apology appearances employed by the content creators in their speech acts. Okay, second, to identify the patterns employed in the apology speech acts. And the last one, the last objective of this paper is to frame the dynamics of apology speech acts through a segment of content creators as context. Okay, next is the methodology or the methods or the process of how we conduct our paper. So discourse analysis and conversational analysis was utilized in connection with the paper's design. Okay, for the analytical framework, we have also another side there. So we use cross-cultural speech act realization pattern or the CC-SARP, which was proposed by Bloom, Kulka, and Olstein. And we have also here the taxonomy by Klimczak and Paulak. These two were incorporated in the study to identify the apology adherences and the patterns used by the content creators in their speech acts. Okay, in this slide, I will going to show you our corpus of the study. So this study explored the apology speeches delivered by 5 most followed content creators in the digital space. Most followed Filipino content creators to be specific. So these content creators are considered public figures by the netizens, which are seen as individuals who have a significant impact on society and are subject to public scrutiny. So the content creators are Daniel Laudet, a TikToker, Louie J. Balok, a TikToker as well, Noel Tobia, Marilite Lamayo, and Jose Marie Borja Viceral, or also known as Vice Ganda. Okay, they are part of our corpus of the study. For the results and discussion, first we intend to identify the different apology adherences used by the Filipino content creators. So we have 5 content creators, and first we find out that Daniel Laudet, a TikToker, together with the 4 other content creators, use various of apologies. So with the help of the CC-SARF, we have identified the different apology adherences used by these Filipino content creators. So in the slide, we have first Daniel Laudet, and then so Daniel Laudet or having various of apology adherences integrated in his apology speech. So first we have the IFID or the elocutionary force indicating devices. So Daniel Laudet says sorry, I'm sorry, which are considered under the IFID. So Daniel Laudet also provide explanation in his apology speeches. In his apology speech, he explained why he did that or why he do things like that. And then next is apology intensification. So Daniel Laudet, a TikToker, he was put intensificator, or he intend to intensified his apology, such as saying, I'm really sorry, I am very sorry, I am truly sorry. So there is an intensified word there, the really, the very, and the truly. So Daniel Laudet, he used an apology intensifications. And then another thing is Daniel Laudet also accept blames as an apology to his audience or to his viewers. So these are the apology adherences utilized by a Filipino content creator, Daniel Laudet, in his apology speech, which was analyzed by the researchers. We have the IFID or the elocutionary force indicating devices. We have the explanation, and then apology intensification and accepting blame. Okay, so in identifying the apology patterns, it was shown in the slide that the content creators, Louie J. Balok, he was a TikToker, utilized, we have here the explicit self-blame pattern, an expression of regret pattern, intensifying adverbals pattern, and explanation or account pattern. So the following patterns were present in the speech or the apology speech of Mr. Louie J. Balok. So Mr. Louie J. Balok provide or apologize to his audience through self-blaming, explicit self-blaming, and then there will also parts of the speech that he expressed his regret, and he intensified the adverbs or the adverbs that he was using, and then he was also providing an explanation as regard as or to consider his apology to his audience. So again, Mr. Louie J. Balok uses explicit self-blame, expression of regret, intensifying adverbials and explanation or account to his apology speeches. So the other content creators, they were also using different patterns. Some of them uses expression of regret, some of them uses request of forgiveness and explanation as well. So we frame the dynamics of apology speech acts through a segment of content creators as context. With the help of the 5 Filipino content creators, we identified 5 dynamics, which are first, switching from direct to indirect apologies. So the 5 Filipino content creators do not focus on direct apologies, but they also use indirect apologies, which means they do not just apologize to their audience through saying, I'm sorry, I'm really sorry, but they also apologize through accepting blame, through acknowledging their audience, through giving explanation or intensifying their words. Another dynamics of apology speech acts utilized by the Filipino content creators is acknowledging accountability to their fan base. So they acknowledge that they hurt or that they cause trouble or that they cause pain to their fan base. Another thing is they calibrate strategies to social media sensibilities, and then they also uphold empathy through acknowledgement of the bereaved party. So they acknowledge their fan base or those persons who were hurt by what they said. So they intend to give empathy or to uphold empathy to these people. And then lastly is they display honesty through referential points to increase sincerity. So there were Filipino content creators in our studies, such as Danielle Lodit, that provide a screenshot or as a referential points to increase his sincerity or to increase his honesty. So through this can be an evidence for him that he was telling the truth, that he was saying the truth, and with that, his audience will wholeheartedly believes in him. So that are the results. Those were the results and discussion of our study. So these 5 Filipino content creators, it is visible that those 5 Filipino content creators varies in ways of apologizing and did not solely rely on direct apologies, but rather utilize various ways to show regrets and to seek forgiveness from their audience or from their fan base. So the dynamics of apology speech acts in the content creators' apology videos highlight the different styles and strategies in communicating, specifically in apologizing in the online world. Okay, now we are already on the last part of the presentation, which is the conclusion. Okay, first, all of the content creators that were integrated or incorporated in our study utilize various strategies that form patterns of apology speech acts. And then next, these content creators do not solely use direct apologies, but indirect apologies as well. They have their strategies, they have their approaches. And then the patterns employed by these content creators revolve around self-blaming, expression of regret, request for forgiveness, offer of repair, explanation or account, and intensifying adverbials. And for the last part, apologies are not just limited to just one way of expressing regret. So content creator strategies change depending on the context, depending on the audience. So I guess that will end our presentation for our study. Thank you so much for listening.